for You television. Our big stories of tonight. The four leaders of the Quad group, that is United States, Japan, India, and Australia, have concluded an inter-person summit in Tokyo to express their steadfast commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific that is inclusive and resilient. And of course, in Africa, industry leaders, experts, and government representatives are converging on Singapore to redefine the global value chain in the rubber industry in the globe. In Cameroon, the Social Democratic Front Party of Nijon Frundi has this day celebrated its 32nd anniversary at a challenging time when the party is facing internal wrangling. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my big stories of tonight. In a jiffy, I shall be back to develop these stories and more. You're all welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for trusting us. I am Tekewana at the anchor in Douala. The four member states of the Quad bloc, comprising of the US of A, Japan, India, and Australia, have just concluded their summit with a joint statement, which of course says that they have decided to be steadfast to free and open Indo-Pacific, which is inclusive and resilient. The resolutions is the content of this report proposed to us by Ekome Abane.
The leaders of the Quad, which are United States, Japan, India, and Australia, have warned against militarizing the South and East China Seas. The four Quad leaders wrapped up in a summit with a joint statement that vowed their steadfast commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific that is inclusive and resilient. The statement also reflected on how rapidly to lose partnership has developed. After having largely fallen apart in 2008, the Quad was revived in 2017, and the leaders of the members met for the first time last year. This May marks the fourth joint event and their second in-person summit. The statement also highlights challenges to the maritime rules-based order, including in the East and South China Seas, both waters that have long been contested with overlapping territorial claims by numerous countries, like China, who claims almost all of the vast South China Seas as its sovereign territory and has been building up and militarizing its facilities there, turning islands into military bases and airstrips, and allegedly creating a maritime militia that could number hundreds of vessels. The statement did not include any explicit mention of China, but offered veiled warning, condemning North Korea's recent surge in missile testing, and also called for an end to violence in Myanmar, where the military seized control in a coup last year. The leaders also discussed their responses to the ongoing war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine and reiterated that the strong will to resolve and maintain peace and stability in the region, stating that they underscored unequivocally that the centerpiece of international order is international law, including the United Nations Charter, respect for sovereignty and territorial integration of all states.
We stay in Europe, but this time around focus on Iran, where weeks of protests in Iran has turned to be violent, leading to nationwide arrest and injuries. The anti-government protest is reported in at least 40 cities and towns across Iran due to economic challenges, which of course has been transformed to be political. Once more, Ekume Abane.
The Iranian government mobilized tens of thousands of supporters on Friday in a domestic show of force after weeks of protests turned violent, leading to nationwide arrest and injuries. Thousands of pro-government supporters rallied outside Tehran, including 50,000 Revolutionary Guards and Basij militia members. The government protests reported in at least 40 cities and towns across Iran started over economic matters but have turned political, with demonstrators chanting anti-government slogans and calling for the fall of the regime. Social media videos posted by activists showed that in early May, protests erupted across some Iran's poorer cities after the government cut state subsidies on food, causing prices to shoot up to 300% for several flour-based staples. The price of other basic goods like cooking oil and dairy products also spiked. Henceforth, the government said the move was aimed at redistributing subsidies to lower-income people. The subsidy changes aimed at controlling the prices of basic goods were introduced by Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi earlier this month in an attempt to alleviate the effects of a rise in global wheat prices and U.S. sanctions on the Iranian economy. Large crowds took to the streets of the southwestern Western province to protest a hike in prices, with the protests later spreading to other provinces, as most of the protesters have been public sector workers. The rallies have had echoes of 2019, when many took to the streets over fuel price hikes in protest that became the deadliest since the Islamic Republic's founding in 1979.
Let's come down to the African continent, beginning from Zimbabwe, where we are told that home to a quarter of Africa's elephant and one of the few growing populations of the large land mammals in the world is trying to find allies to legalize the international trade in ivory, which has been banned for more than 30 years today. How do they intend achieving this feat? Nota Bianche has explanations in the following report.
Zimbabwe last week asked Europe to support the idea of international trade in ivory, which of now stands at 600 million stockpiles, a request which was done some 3 years ago with Botswana and Namibia, but was rejected by the CITES in Geneva. International trade in ivory has been banned since 1989 under the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Zimbabwe invited representatives of 15 countries to a conference on the subject in the Hawe Reserve located on the border with Botswana. At this reserve, some 50,000 specimens share 14,600 kilometers square of vegetation, as such overpopulated. The overpopulation of the reserve is leading to increasingly frequent incidents with humans, as about 60 people have been killed by elephants this year in the country. The conference will bring together pro-legalization countries like China and Japan, and countries like Seychelles and Madagascar, which have no elephant on the territory, are also represented. Around 50 organizations fighting the international ivory trade signed a statement condemning any move that will undermine the production of a species, saying the conference is sending a dangerous signal to poachers and criminal organizations, increasing the threat to this endangered species.
And of course, from Zimbabwe, we go down to Nigeria, where the 2023 presidential elections in Nigeria is gaining plenty of momentum, but rather not on a positive note, according to political pundits. It is so because most aspirants to run for the presidential race are today being arrested and accused of embezzlement of public funds. How federal is the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the content of this report proposed to us by Leyuga Vonyonga.
Nigeria's anti-graft urgency arrested Senator Rochas Okorocha in Abuja. The presidential aspirant of the ruling APC party is accused of diverting 2.9 billion naira of public funds and properties. Okorocha has previously denied the accusations, yet the EFCC filed a 17-count criminal charge against Okorocha last January. Supporters of the former governor of the southeast state of Imo suspected the jail of their candidate is politically motivated. The anti-corruption body has, however, rejected those claims. In a statement, the EFCC, head of media and publicity, said previous attempts to arraign Senator Okorocha were stalled owing to his absence. The commission argued it had been left with no other chance than jailing the 59-year-old to bring him to trial. The imprisonment of Rochas Okorocha comes ahead of the APC party president primaries. However, federalism in Nigeria refers to the devolution of self-governance by the West African nation of Nigeria to its federated states, who share sovereignty with the federal government. Federalism in Nigeria, again, can be traced to Sir Frederick Lord Lugard when the northern and southern protectorates were amalgamated in 1914.
And of course, we come down to Cameroon now. Without any transition today, let's talk about religion, where Cameroon this day, May 26, 2022, has joined the entire globe to celebrate the Ascension Feast. It is one of those important calendars in the life of Christianhood, whereby it has been celebrated 40 days after Jesus Christ died and resurrected into heaven. Just how important is this feast to Christian life? Our reporter, Nitasen Fro, went investigating, and here comes his findings.
Ascension Day is always marked on the 6th Thursday or 39 days after Easter Sunday. For this reason, it is sometimes referred to as Holy Thursday. It dates back more than 2,000 years and marks the day Jesus Christ returns to heaven following his resurrection 40 days after conducting a series of teachings on earth.
The ascension of Jesus Christ is the proof that Jesus is God. God made human, and now Jesus returned to receive his glory, the glory he had near the Father before the beginning of the world. That is the divinity of Jesus Christ.
As Christian faithfuls around the globe celebrate the ascension of their personal Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, it is equally an opportunity for them to recognize the deeds of Christ and acknowledge the fact that he died for our sins, resurrected, ascended, and is seated at the right hand of God in heaven.
The ascension of Jesus Christ means that Jesus is the real priest need by God, real priest sent by God, the real priest who give to the whole humanity the good thanksgiving for God, the good sacrifice for God. We have all the opportunity to join this sacrifice of Jesus Christ at this particular time. And in the fourth dimension, the ascension of Jesus Christ means that Jesus is the big prophet, the real prophet. A prophet is a person who is sent by God to bring to to his creature the real word of God. Jesus is the man who brings us the real God of God, who show us the true way to know God.
It is believed Ascension Day was being marked as early as the 4th century and remains a significant observance in the Catholic Church as well as other Christian churches.
And away from religion, let's talk about economy, where as the world economy recovers from the COVID-19 crisis, it is important for the world to equally build resilient, digitalized, and diversified value chains for inclusive and sustainable rubber economy. For the past 2 days, the World Rubber Summit 2022 has taken place in Singapore, with Cameroon's Minister Delegate for the Commonwealth who of course represented the country and presented Cameroon's roadmap as far as beefing up the rubber sector is concerned. Details with you, Nota Bianco.
It is a summit which ran for 3 days and is coming to an end in the hours ahead. This edition of the World Rubber Summit project that as theme a resilient, digitalized and sustainable rubber economy, redefining value chains, which gears at shaping changes towards building resilient, digitalized and diversified global and regional value chain, which aims at transitioning to inclusive and sustainable rubber economy amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war plaguing the world. Cameroon, as one of the world's top 20 producers of rubber, is present at this event organized by the International Rubber Study Group in Singapore, with a delegation headed by the Minister Delegate for the Commonwealth, Felix Mbayu, where he presented the government's action towards the promotion of rubber. Cameroon's agro-industrial company, CDC alone, produces averagely between 18,000 to 20,000 tons of high-quality semi-finished rubber annually. In 2020, the global production of rubber in Cameroon rose to 15,000 tons from 45,000 tons in 2019 to 60,000 tons in 2020 amidst the coronavirus pandemic, a record which continued in 2021, as in the second quarter of the year, the Bank of Central African States announced an increase in rubber production in Cameroon. Projecting on a future increase by the end of 2022, the Minister of Agriculture, Gabriel Biarobi, estimates a 6,667 tons rise, and this thanks to the impact of an oil palm and Evea development project aimed at providing various support to small farmers. Ranked as Africa's 4th largest rubber producer, amid the political economic crisis plaguing the country, the increase in the percentage of production shows an effort done towards the promotion and exportation of rubber, which is an economic boost to the gross domestic product.
Now, from one big event in the world where Cameroon has been represented to another event that's from Singapore, we go down to Turkey, where Cameroon is being represented at the 2022 International Union of Agricultural Cities, that is Agric Cities, with 22 mayors, headed by Decentralization and Local Development Minister George Elanga Obam in Turkey. How important is Cameroon's participation at the 2022 summit? Here comes Leyuga Fonyonga for explanations. Well, we should be probably coming back to that report of Leyuga Fonyonga talking about Cameroon's representation at the 2022 Agricultural Cities Summit, which of course is taking place in Turkey. If that is possible, can we have the report, please?
The Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, Mr. Georges Elanga Obam, leads a Cameroonian delegation to Konya, Turkey, to take part in the General Assembly of the International Union of Agricultural Cities, Agri-Cities, of the May 25th to May 27th, 2022. 22 mayors from Cameroon cities participated in this General Assembly. Agri-Cities aims to promote agricultural development through exchanges, maturation of projects, and funding research, and in the long term, ensure sustainable agriculture, agro-industry, and food security cities. At the end of the first day, the 22 Cameroonians present have officially become members of Agri-Cities. Turkey's vision for the year 2023 is that it plans on increasing annual Turkish exports to $500 billion, foreign trade volume of $1 trillion, and employment rate by 10 points to working population of 30 million people, and also reduce the unemployment rate to 5%. Turkey's economic freedom score is 56.9, making its economy the 107th best in the 2022 index. Turkey is ranked 42nd among 45 countries in the European region, and its overall score is below the regional and world averages.
Now, the sons and daughters of Njonjo today came together in a show of solidarity to denounce the Dikolo demolition, which has today rendered over 67 families homeless. The details in this report.
Their voices were raised to the heaven. Make no mistake, it wasn't to glorify his holy name, but rather to cry out for help following the demolition of the properties of over 67 elite of theirs at Dikolo in the Douala 1 subdivision.
Just want the country to know that the Njonjo people and the Sawa as a whole are crying for these 67 families that are in the darkness, that are under the sun, that are under the rain. Children are there who are taking examinations. Where are they? How do they learn? It is not fair.
It explains why they were all dressed in black to express their frustration to administrative authorities of the littoral region following the act. Though being denied the right to parade the major streets of Douala since 7 a.m., the demonstrators are poised to continue the crusade.
One day before 20th May, which is Unity Day, 50th anniversary of our unity, to come and scatter it. We need to make our voices heard. We are not fighting against anybody. Let us cry what we are. But let them give us back our land, and those who scattered it should give money so that the houses that they scattered should be rebuilt.
Nevertheless, as to how far their voices can go and for how long they intend carrying out the denunciation, only time alone shall tell.
Talk politics, whereby the Social Democratic Front Party, SDF, has today celebrated its 32nd anniversary. What has been the journey this far? Let's find out in this report.
The introduction of multipartyism in Cameroon in 1990 paved the way for the coming of the Social Democratic Front Party of Nigel Frodin on May 26, 1990. 32 years today, the party has witnessed the ups and downs of the political spectrum of the country, not to the satisfaction of her militants.
Not in total. Not in total. I'm satisfied because the party is still existing, irrespective of the small problems that we have, internal problem, which all parties usually have. But I think the party is still on its feet, and I believe the party can still do something.
However, the SDF over the years has been able to attain its biggest achievement in 1992 during the presidential election to have scored 36% of vote against 40% for incumbent President Paul Biya. Since then, the SDF has remained the main opposition political party in the country despite threats from other opposition parties.
I believe SDF is still the opposition party whom the Cameroonians are looking forward to take this country to another position.
Lately, power tussle has become the order of the day within the SDF, which is very common in every institution.
There is no political party without having internal problems, without having power tussle within its militants, especially a party like SDF, a democratic party like SDF that have been working since 32 years. Obviously, the chairman is tired, he's weak, and very soon he'll be going on retirement. So I believe some people who think they can now take power, it's obvious for them to start seeking for notice.
Nevertheless, militants of the SDF as well as sympathizers desire to see their party forge ahead despite its current challenges.
The problem then is in SDF party, we just need dialogue. The party need to come together. The party need to sit and really try to sort out the problems in the party.
It is therefore a peak of maturity the Social Democratic Front Party has attained at 32 to be able to handle its affairs. Thus, at 32, sympathizers and militants of the party desire to see their darling party grow from leaps and bounds and be able to meet the hope and aspirations of Cameroonians in future elections in the country.
Let's talk sport in basketball, whereby Cameroon's representative at the Africa Basketball League, FAB Club de Yaoundé, has been knocked out from the competition, which of course is taking place in Kigali, Rwanda. Nitezen Fro comes back to the high moment of that encounter.
Là maintenant c'est le final, on n'a pas le droit de se rater. Nous sommes une équipe très dure, avec beaucoup plus de détermination.
Knocked out at quarterfinals during the first edition, FAB of Yaoundé did better this time around. Semi-finalists alongside African basketball cadres like Zamalek from Egypt, Pedro de Luanda or US Monastir from Tunisia, the Cameroonian representatives showed good dispositions, those which permitted them be familiar with the others. Fourth in the Nile Conference, it is a more conquering and ambitious FAB team that arrives in Kigali for the Final Four. While everything predicts a premature elimination, the club guided by Francois Eyenge thwarts all predictions by winning 66-63 against Rwanda Energy Group in a melting Kigali arena. Led by Joel Amida, Deshaun Morman, Cedric Kengfak and Ulrich Chomche, FAB of Yaoundé succeeded in its campaign, although eliminated at the semi-finals. In a period where inaccuracies rhyme with awkwardness, FAB basketball from Cameroon is logically dominated by a more voluntary Petro team from Rwanda. Beyond this elimination, it is above all the state of mind displayed throughout the competition that it is to be welcomed. A state of mind which it will be necessary to hang on to this Friday against the Egyptians of Zamalek for a place on the podium. On their part, Pedro de Luanda and US Monastir will face each other at the finals this Saturday, the objective being for one or the other team registering their name for the very first time on the Basketball Africa League trophy.
And that last report there by Nitezen Fro puts a wrap to today's English Primetime Newscast on For You Television. We want to thank you all immensely on behalf of the entire crew for investing this great time of communion and friendship on For You Television. Until we meet again tomorrow for what must have been news in Cameroon, Africa, and the world. It's goodbye from Berlin, Germany. Goodbye from Burundi in Botswana. God bless Africa. Bye-bye.